Hey guys, Jason here, musicsoftwaretraining.com, back with another music production video. And today we're getting into why information is more likely to lead you to procrastination and confusion than it is to lead you to a solution, unless it's done correctly. All right, so here's my top 10 reasons for that. And it doesn't matter whether you're watching YouTube videos, reading blogs, going to forums, podcasts, this video here as well. If you're not putting it to proper use, then it's probably more likely a form of procrastination. All right. So number one, there's nothing challenging at all about seeking information. All right. The challenge is your art, and you're running up against these points where you want to stop or you feel confused because it's hard work. It actually takes real thinking to create. Right. So oftentimes what we do is we search out information as a crutch, as a way to avoid doing what we really should be doing. All right. Number two is you're always going to choose input over output if given the choice. So input being anything that you're collecting that comes from outside yourself versus what you're putting out into the world. All right. So you need to really keep an eye on whether you're in an input mode or an output mode, because it's very easy to start by trying to do output work and just hitting a block, a mental block right up front, and immediately feeling that your solution is to go hunt down videos and hunt down information to supposedly solve the problem that you're running into. All right. That oftentimes doesn't work, because usually what's happening is you're looking for a way out from creating, from the fear that's related and obviously the challenges that are related to creative work. All right. Number three is that information is addictive, even if it's not relevant. That's why we may start with good intentions when searching for information, but end up at a whole other area of the internet, down some weird rabbit hole, maybe some wild conspiracy theory or whatever the heck is going on that has nothing to do with your music. It's just because information leads to that feel good sort of thing. So because the work that you're doing is not making you feel good in that moment, because you're getting stuck, going out and trying to collect information makes you feel like you're accomplishing something, getting smarter, getting wiser, and you feel that that's going to make you more capable of creating better work. And oftentimes that's just not the case. Number four is that information that's not immediately put to use is not going to be retained. So at the time that you need it in the future, you're not going to have it stored where you need it at easy access. It's kind of like reading an encyclopedia from A to Z before you even know whether you need the information or not. And then you try to recall the information you need, realizing that you just have no access to that information, right? You end up having to just go back and search for that one thing that you're looking for, because even though you read front to back the encyclopedia, there's just no way you can keep and retain all that information. All right. Number five is that collecting information can make you a lazy problem solver. In other words, you're always going to seek outside yourself instead of trying to find your own solutions, because the brain doesn't really like to do a lot of thinking work. It likes to be kind of in automatic mode, doing the things that it did yesterday and the day before and the day before. That's why anytime you're trying to create a new habit, you run against so much resistance. It's because the brain doesn't really want to, doesn't want to shift who you are. It doesn't care who you are, but it's like, this is what we're doing now. Why would we change? And it comes from, evolutionary sort of triggers to protect you, but that is not necessary these days. So you have to recognize when you get stuck in this sort of trap. Otherwise, once again, you're going to end up in a rabbit hole where you learn a lot of stuff, you feel smart, you might even answer a lot of questions for other people on forums and feel really good about that. But when it comes to your own music, you're not finishing a whole lot of stuff. All right. Number six is that sometimes the information you're seeking isn't even necessary. In other words, you didn't even run up against a problem. Instead, what you did is, instead of like diving right back into your music, you dive into tutorials about your music, right? So you haven't even really run into the problem. You only are imagining a problem that you need to solve. So you're going to the information first instead of actually carrying yourself as far as you can with your music production until you run into a block that you can't solve. And that means that you've actually attempted your own solutions. Because I think that aspect's really important as well, is if you don't develop your own solutions to some of the problems, if you're always solving the problems the exact same way as everyone, then you might lose some originality to the way you approach music making. And those differences are the things that can really make you unique, all right? Number 7, you're only gonna recognize your own blind spots in music production by actually bumping up against them in the process of doing your work and attempting to solve your problems. If you're always using information as a crutch, you may not even be running into your real problems enough to recognize it as your actual challenge. In other words, there may be aspects to your music production that seem like the problem, but really they're only symptoms that are coming up to a greater underlying problem. Maybe some of the things you do early on with your music production actually leads to a bigger mountain of problems later on in your song. And you're trying to solve the problem from that area instead of going to the foundation of what is causing this in the first place. So you want to keep an eye out for real blind spots instead of ones that you're imagining, all right? Number 8 is you rarely stop when you get the information you need. You usually keep on going and keep on diving into more and more information instead of just taking the information you've got and putting it into practical use right away. So this is always going to lead you to information overwhelm, which is going to give you a false sense of confidence. But then when you try to put it into practical use with, once again, your output, your art, you're going to run up against the same sort of roadblocks oftentimes. Number 9, if information were the solution, you'd already have it. You'd already be at the top of your game. If information alone was all you needed, there's a wealth of information out there that would have led to your success already. So you kind of really have to take a look at where you're at right now, how much information you've devoured, and where it has gotten you, and realize that there's a missing link somewhere in here that you're just not getting. So number 10, the more you're consuming information, the less you're actually creating, right? So I would recommend that you put 80% of your time into actually working on your music and trying to solve your own problems, and only 20% of the time at most actually looking for solutions to things that you clearly have been having trouble getting past, right? And that's a legitimate way to use information. And what I would recommend is when you do go to search information, set a timer for like only 15 minutes. Like give yourself only 15 minutes to come up with the solution. Because the solution's there, but what will happen is once you get started searching for information, you'll get lazy and you'll just watch and watch and watch and collect and collect and collect. And oftentimes you'll realize that you actually have to watch all that information all over again just to get the nuggets that you really need because you didn't immediately put it into practice, all right? This is a lot like, what I could compare it to is I am a bit of a chess player. I've been playing chess most of my life, but I'm not very good at it. But what I'll do kind of for recreation is I will watch games of the grandmasters, right? And the smart moves they make. And, oftentimes I'll be like, yeah, I would have made that move too. Wow, do I feel smart? So I feel all confident from watching all these, all these tournaments and, all these matches. And then I'll go on my chess app and, try to play the computer, and I'll get my ass handed to me over and over and over again. And that's just proof that collecting all this information and watching and watching and watching isn't really the thing that's going to get you further. So I have to recognize that I'm mainly just watching for entertainment. The things that I'm picking up are 99% of the time not even going to be applicable to the games that I'm playing. Once I see a different move that I haven't seen before, it's all lost, right? You can't win a chess match just by memorizing the moves of others because every game has its own subtleties to it. So I hope this gives you a little bit of insight on the way that your brain works, and I hope that it helps you to kind of stop the bad habits and get into the more positive habits that will really help you finish more songs. And my cat's going crazy right now if you can hear it. But I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll speak to you guys real soon. Take care. Hey guys, thanks again for listening. And if you like this type of content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell and set it to all posts. Don't forget that you can read my best-selling book, the mental game of electronic music production for free by going to musicsoftwaretraining.com/thementalgame. You'll also get my song recovery kit and my 101 Ableton tips video totally free. If you'd like to connect with me more directly to see how I might be able to help you personally, you can schedule a free 15-minute session with me by going to musicsoftwaretraining.com/application and answering a few quick questions. Happy music making, and I'll speak to you real soon.